you feel that? The chill as it spreads through your body. A shiver runs up your spine as the brisk wind bites. This is no time to freeze. You stand face to face with veterans, masters of this world, champions in these conditions. Focus on the training. Use the pressure as it cracks the world around you, as the ground melts beneath you. Slowly breathing. Focus your mind. The Arctic awaits.
The global adventure continues. From Senegal in West Africa, Extreme E moves 4,000 miles north to the dramatic landscape of the Arctic Circle. Very much looking forward to this. Welcome to round 3 of the series. We're at the midway point of the season already, and this one is going to be very different from what we've seen so far. 2 desert events. Now we're up in the ice and the cold of Greenland. My name is Andrew Collier. Joining me as always is Jenny Gow.
Yeah, I'm so excited about this. A total change of scenery, a change of climate, a change of subject. But I tell you what, the racing is still going to be fantastic. And in case you haven't joined us before, this is what you can expect with Extreme E.
The consequences of climate change are affecting millions of people across the planet.
Cities worldwide are going to become uninhabitable.
Extreme E is an all-electric off-road racing series with a purpose, raising awareness of the devastating effect climate change is having on our planet. In fully electric off-road SUVs, racing in some of the most remote and damaged areas on Earth.
So really seeing what the issues are, but then importantly what we can do to help be part of the solution, making this world better for the future as well.
To tackle these demanding locations requires one of the most robust racing cars ever built. The Odyssey 21.
The car feels insane.
It's amazing how much torque you have to have immediate power when you touch the throttle pedal. It's proper exciting to drive.
With some of the biggest names in motorsport behind the wheel and a 50-50 split male and female driver lineup, teams will go wheel to wheel on the most extreme terrains in the most extreme temperatures, driving the most extreme vehicle. Backed by a team of industry-leading scientists to guarantee we not only race without a trace, but we leave a lasting legacy in every location.
Wouldn't it be great to be a part of something that really does make a difference?
This is fierce and exciting racing with the future of our planet at its heart. This is the greatest adventure of our time. This is Extreme E.
Before our worldwide adventure continues in Greenland, this is how the Arctic X Prix winner will be decided here in Kangerlussuaq. The world's finest drivers have joined brand new teams to compete in the Extreme E Championship. Each team will consist of 1 female and 1 male driver. The drivers will compete in X Prix across the globe, each highlighting a specific environmental issue. An Extreme E race consists of 2 laps. The male and female driver must complete 1 lap each. Each team has 2 hyperdrive power boosts they can activate on lap 1 and lap 2 of the race. Expect strategy and tactics. Over the course of an X Prix, the quickest team that goes through the super sector collects a further 5 team championship points. Day 1 is qualifying and consists of 2 qualifying rounds. In each round, every team does 2 laps against the clock, with both drivers driving a lap each. In both rounds, there are qualifying points up for grabs, and this determines how they progress to Day 2, semi-finals and crazy race. There are also championship points to be won, with the top team in qualifying bagging 12 vital championship points, down to the last place qualifying team who walk away with just 4 championship points. Day 2 starts with the semi-finals, with the top 2 teams from each semi progressing to the final. The bottom 3 teams from Day 1's qualifying go head-to-head in the crazy race, the winner taking the last remaining place in the final. Grid play allows fans to vote for their favourite teams and drivers. The team that collects the most votes gets first grid position pick for the final, with the second and third teams choosing, but there is a twist. The teams who do not reach the final can still have an impact, as they can donate their votes to any team that reaches the final and influence who eventually wins the all-important grid play. The fastest two teams from semi-final 1 and 2 and the winner of the crazy race will battle it out in the 5-car final. The team that crosses the line first wins the X Prix and claims 25 championship points, with the following teams collecting further championship points in descending order. All 5 X Prix count towards the team's championship, and in the drivers' championship, competitors can drop their worst X Prix result of the season. Who has what it takes to lift the trophy? Well, that's how the championship works, and these are the drivers that will be competing for the very first Extreme E crown. Extreme E sees 9 all-star teams entering the inaugural season, packed with world champions from all over the motorsport world.
We've basically got champions in every motorsport discipline pretty much, are all coming together and being part of Extreme E.
American racing royalty Andretti have teamed up with Britain's United Autosport and have 2019 World Rallycross champion Timmy Hansen driving alongside British rally star Katie Munnings. Chip Ganassi Racing are on the hunt for victory, with the All-American outfit having recruited 7-time Pro 4 off-road champion Carl Leduc and the multi-discipline dirt racing expertise of Sarah Price.
We will do it with a purpose and leave the smallest footprint as we can, but our footprint will be on the top of that podium for sure.
At Cooper Racing have plenty of driving experience leading the line, as Jutta Kleinschmidt, the Paris-Dakar's only female winner, and former World Rallycross champion Matthias Ekstrom in the hot seat. Acciona Sainz, created by rally legend Carlos Sainz, sees the 2-times World Rally champion and 4-time Dakar Rally winner pairing up with Laia Sanz, an 11-time Dakar racer.
To have Carlos Sainz in the field as well, it's pretty surreal for me.
Driving for Excite Energy Racing is rally racer Christine Giampaoli Zonca and British rallycross driver Oliver Bennett. Veloce Racing, with Formula E champions and elite F1 experience behind the scenes, have 2-time Le Mans champ Stefan Sarazan, and for this round he's partnered by Emma Gilmore, who comes with a wealth of rally experience. RXR, formed by 2016 Formula 1 world champion Nico Rosberg, has the dream team of 3-time World Rallycross champion Johan Kristoffersen and Molly Taylor, the youngest Australian rally champion to date. These guys are looking like the ones to beat, sat at the top of the standings.
Molly is Australian rally champion, so she's a phenomenal driver, and she's proven that as well on the Extreme E track.
Hot on the heels of RXR in the championship are X44, founded by 7-time F1 world champion Lewis Hamilton.
From a driver's perspective, I'm always looking for someone that's pushing the limits. Experience is key.
The F1 star has recruited rally royalty, 9-time world rally champion Sebastian Loeb and Cristina Gutierrez, the second female driver ever to win a Dakar stage. The pair definitely have the credentials to challenge for the title.
It's really amazing to see them both performing at such a high level.
Last to enter this almighty roster, JBXE, founded by yet another F1 world champion Jenson Button. Lining up in the driver's seat, younger brother of Timmy Hansen and World Rallycross hotshot Kevin Hansen. He's partnered up with Swedish off-road racer Michaela Arlo Kotolinski, and so far are sitting 3rd in the championship.
Time then for qualifying in Greenland. There's some of the local wildlife. Luckily, none of them on track. As you can see, the cars were absolutely flat out as always. RXR, Johan Kristoffersen in the car, stopped 3 times on the course. Absolute nightmare. Got the car reset and brought it back to his teammate Molly Taylor. We didn't think things could get much worse, but look at this. A bad bounce, the rear right digs in. Taylor rolls the car, gets going immediately, doesn't even come to a stop, manages to get the car to the finish, but not the start the championship leaders were looking for. Chip Ganassi Racing, they were super fast last time out in Senegal. Sarah Price had a brilliant start to her run, handed over to Kyle Leduc, and a at this point, Leduc having a huge moment, nearly rolled like Taylor did, but managed to hold on a fast time for the Americans. X44 were in the form which we've come to know them for in qualifying. Cristina Gutierrez and Sebastian Loeb absolutely smashing it on the timesheets, and it would be them that was at the top of the table at the end of Q1. On to Q2, and Abt Cupra had a brilliant run in Q1, thinking maybe they could threaten X44 for the top qualifier spot, but Ekstrom came home from the changeover with 2 punctures on the car. The rear left was changed, the rear right they could not get off the car, and it was a DNF. Different issue for Carl Leduc. You ride on board with him here as the rear left suspension collapses. The Americans with a wheel hanging off the back of the wagon, unable to continue. Redemption time though for RXR. Molly Taylor had flown on the first lap, Johan Kristoffersen flew literally on the second lap, and they would win Q2. But it wasn't enough to deny X44 their 3rd top qualifier spot in a row. Gutierrez and Loeb have been fast and consistent and problem-free all day long. Another fantastic performance and another top qualifier spot. Here are the standings at the end of qualifying. Top of the table, X44 for the 3rd time in a row. Then it's Abt Cupra, RXR, Andretti United, Veloce Racing, Acciona Sites, Chip Ganassi Racing, JBXE, and Excite Racing.
Coming up, we witness the first wheel-to-wheel racing in Kangaloo Sack as teams go head-to-head in the semi-finals. Welcome back to Extreme E in Greenland. As the action heats up on this incredible terrain, the Extreme E scientists are studying how temperature rise is affecting this delicate environment.
The Arctic is incredibly important in studying climate change because it's warming up faster than any other part of the world.
Greenland is an important piece of the climate change problem because 80% of the island is covered by an ice sheet. It's very vulnerable to warming, and therefore we're losing ice. We're losing ice on Greenland, but we're also losing sea ice. And the sea ice is a mirror that reflects solar radiation back to the atmosphere. And when we lose it, rather than being reflected up, it's absorbed by the ocean and contributes to warming. Since 1979 to present, we have seen losses of sea ice in the summer, which have increased at 13% per decade. So the Greenland ice sheet is one of the most important reservoirs of ice in the planet.
This is, of course, a huge ice sheet, but it's losing mass at an enormous rate. In fact, last time we were on it, it was the biggest daily loss in history, was 12.5 billion tons of water melted off in that one day.
And on the last years, the rate of loss of ice and the delivery of fresh water to the ocean has been equivalent to be able to flood England with 2 meters of water every year coming from the Greenland ice sheet.
In August this year, the rain was observed to fall on the top of the Greenland ice sheet for the first time. That's 4,000 meters above sea level, and it's never rained there before. The big consequence of the melting of land ice is that sea level rises, and it's inexorable that it's rising. And all of that retreat produces meltwater, and the meltwater goes into the ocean and causes sea level rise. More than 600 million people live in areas that are below 10 meters above sea level.
we must absolutely take action everywhere to avoid that the unleashed climate change that we're starting to experience in the Arctic propagates and cascades and affects the entire planet. It is a situation where we need all hands on deck and all solutions on deck.
Properly at the midway point in the season. We're halfway through the middle event. Qualifying's over, semi-final time now, and we've had some changes to the track overnight. So that section where we saw a couple of cars, we saw Molly Taylor roll, we saw a couple of people have a huge moment, badly cut up, and they felt that it wasn't going to make for great racing. So what's happened is from waypoint 2 to waypoint 6, you can see the first right-hander after the start up to the left-hander just before the cliff face. There's been a modification to the track. The drivers walked it last night. Today they're going to go side by side for the first time racing across a piece of ground they haven't driven the cars on. So this is going to be absolutely fascinating. Do you use your hyperdrive and try and get the whole shot? Do you hold back and see what that course is like and try not to damage the car, do something later in the race? I think a sensible decision.
So let's have a look at who takes on who. Semi-final 1 is X44, Veloce and the Acciona Science teams. Semi-final 2, Abt Cooper, Andretti United and Rosberg X Racing. And then the crazy race is made up from JBXE, Excite Energy and the Chip Ganassi team. That should be absolutely thrilling.
I hope that we will be able to finish in the two first to enter in the final, but we know that the stage is really rough and now it's raining. 3 cars in the same time in this track will be tough. So I think we will see some interesting battles, and hopefully it will be a good fight, and we'll do our best.
Let's take a look at the grid then for semi-final 1. For X44, it's Cristina Gutierrez who will hand over to Sebastian Loeb. For Veloce, Emma Gilmore starts, then Stefan Sarrazin. And for Acciona Sainz, it is Carlos Sainz handing over to Leia Sanz.
Emma Gilmore is beating herself up about this. She's drawing all the adrenaline she can. All eyes to the start line. We're about to go racing. And it's a green light, so getting stuck into this race. Let's see what happens. The first 3-car race around Kalaallit, a brand new start to this. You can see the X44 just edging in front. It is Cristina Gutierrez taking the lead, but staying with that Emma Gilmore. And Veloce looks like she's got a good run on this, and she's taken the lead. We're on board with the Sainz car. It is Carlos Sainz. He's in third place, but he's found a better way past. And we've got a problem, I think, for Gutierrez. The X44 dropping back hugely. It's Veloce who have taken the lead.
Yeah, brilliant job there by Gilmore. First time we've seen the start, first time the drivers have even driven over this terrain in the cars. Not quite as bumpy as we thought it might be. Now we see hyperdrive from all 3 drivers. That's because this section's flat. Carlos Sainz moves past Emma Gilmore. Gilmore drops in right behind him. I think she might try and slipstream. Going to try and pull out on the way down towards the hairpin. It's such a long run. Gilmore's late on the brakes now. Sainz, though, has got the inside line. Gilmore might try and come back on the exit here. Can she get past before the narrow section? Dirt flies up over the screen.
Wow, the 3 of them really close together as they come into the tight, twisty section. You can see the Veloce car all over the back of the Acciona Sainz, but there's no way through it this section. Oh, hard on the brakes for Veloce. They've made a mistake there for Emma Gilmore. It's allowed the car for X44 to really close up, but they've done nothing with it. This is great for the Sainz team. They've managed to pull away. Rain pouring down at Kalaallit. The team's just coming to a switch back, and the Russell Glacier is behind them as they start going through this very bumpy session. There we go, as we pull out, you can see the glacier, the reason we're here, the reason Extreme E came here to look at that and the whole ice sheet, the impact that we're having on Arctic and global warming. But you can see Sainz, the Acciona team, out in front at the moment. Veloce, then X44.
Veloce have gapped X44 big time, unless she just had... Where would she have made up that time? We didn't see that, so there's a big gap now between Veloce and X44. Looking at X44, there's no issues, no punctures that we can see. Gutierrez is just going to have to try and make that back up, but there's some 5 seconds between them, and Gutierrez was literally right on the rear bumper of Gilmore.
And now the switch.
Leia Sanz climbs in, Carlos climbs out, so their lap belt on first of all. This needs to be fast. Gutierrez out, Sebastian Loeb in. So Sebastian Loeb, the 9-time World Rally Champion, is at the back of the pack. So Loeb and Sarrazin now, both way more experienced, remember, than Leia Sanz. Leia Sanz still learning the differences between bikes, cars, and I don't know if you fancy looking in your mirrors and going, hang on a minute, I think that's Stefan Sarrazin and Sebastian Loeb, 2 of the most experienced drivers in the world chasing you out. It's going to be hard work, isn't it?
Pressurising all the time, Sarrazin, into maybe a mistake, maybe an error. There is no space between Loeb and the car in front, the Veloce team. Oh, look, it's looking for a way round on the inside. Can he do it? No, not quite. That is brave from Loeb. But what else would you expect? Looking for another way round.
He's having another look, going to get into the rear quarter, going to go up the inside of Sarrazin, cuts up over, goes through the side of the lake. Loeb makes a pass where we said you couldn't pass. Well, that's out the window, isn't it? 9-time World Rally Champion says, yeah, you can. No worries. And Loeb is now absolutely slicing into the lead of Lea Sands. It was 9 seconds down to 7. Look in the background. He's on a big, big push, and Sarrazin's going with him. Oh, Carlos Sainz and the Acciona Sainz team will be having kittens back in the command centre watching this. Can she hold on for the rest of this lap? Loeb's really close now. He's 2.6 seconds back. Airs it out big time. 2.1 seconds back. Slices another half second. Oh, look in the background.
Wow.
Biggest jump of the weekend from Sarrazin. That was insane.
He took so much height into that jump. It was incredible. But look, this is the lead. This is the battle for it. It's Sainz. It's X44. Are we going to see a hyperdrive now when one of the cars wants to pass? I think it's a wise time to use it, but Loeb, one of the wisest men out there. And look, he is closing down that gap. He is going to get that Acciona Sainz team.
Lea Sands up and over the crest. Loeb airs it out just in behind now. He's right on her rear quarter. Still, we haven't seen anybody use hyperdrive. We're going to see it now. Loeb's in behind. Here we go. Sebastian Loeb on the hyperdrive, going for the pass and just blasts straight round the outside. Lea Sands responds by using hers as well, but Loeb has just got a nose in front. Going to come down to the braking zone at the next crest. Who's going to be latest for it? Loeb might move across and try and block her on the line. Brilliant move for X44. Acciona Sainz there. How far back are Veloce?
Yeah, they are. Well, they're closing at the moment, are they? We're just having a look. Look, 3 cars comes through X44, Acciona Sainz, Veloce Racing. They are so close. And what's going to happen here? Because we haven't seen 3 cars really aggressively racing. They don't want to be side by side when it gets to the rock garden. That could be disaster for one of them.
It couldn't be closer as we come up to the end of this race. Back end of the car kicks up now for Acciona Sainz. X44 leading, coming up to the rock garden. Oh, look, Stefan Sarrazin is right there. Lea Sands needs to be super defensive now. Loeb, how quickly he's going to go across? He's got to take a risk on it. The cars are too close to be going slowly through here. Sarrazin goes for an alternate line, launches the Veloce machine. It's a brilliant move by Stefan Sarrazin to take the lead. Sebastian Loeb drops down to P2. Unbelievable. Lea Sands up and over the crest, side by side now. Loeb is going to, he's broken the suspension. He drops back. Sebastian Loeb going to take the win for X44. Second place, Lea Sands for Acciona Sainz, but incredible by Stefan Sarrazin. I know the car's broken, but the dream nearly came true. He took the lead with that alternate line. What a semi-final.
Oh, he had to try it. He was in 3rd place. The only option for him was to try something different. Yes, it didn't work. You can see Emma Gilmore, his teammate in the background, disappointed. Whoa, that was absolutely brilliant racing. It's what we hoped it would be. X44 take the win.
Confirmation of the result of Semi-1. Veloce will go no further, unfortunately, after a brilliant effort from Sarrazin at the last corner. Sainz and Sands make the final for the first time, and it's X44 who take the win with Sebastian Loeb and Cristina Gutierrez.
Cristina, what a fantastic semi-final one. And the performance from your teammate, Sebastian Loeb, wow.
For me, it's the best. It's incredible. Share the team with him. It's incredible how read the race. So for me, it's a nice job for the team all the weekend. So we are very happy to be in the final, and congratulations for other team because it was a very nice semi-final one.
Finally, we reached the final and we have a clean run. And yeah, I'm really pleased for the whole team. And now we have to look for the final and see what we can do. But it's already a good step for us.
After the break, the second of today's semi-finals will take place to find out who will start in the Arctic X Prix final. Welcome back to Extreme E here in Greenland, where there's more than just racing on the itinerary. Extreme E is dedicated to leaving behind a positive legacy in our race venues, and here in Kalaallit there are a number of initiatives we're assisting with. From installing solar panels in the local school to give them a more sustainable future, to supplying and training the local emergency response team. But the biggest issue to tackle is the melting of the ice, and our in-house experts Peter Wadhams and Carlos Duarte are leading experiments that will help gather data to assist in the fight against climate change.
As you can see from the scene behind us, a lot of the ice on the Greenland ice cap is very dark. It's called black ice, and it's dark because it's dirty, and what you've got is a long history of dirt and soot from fires gets blown across to Greenland and deposited on the ice sheet. If the ice melts, it leaves the dirt behind, so the dirt accumulates on the surface, gets blacker and blacker. And the blacker it gets, the more radiation it absorbs, and that means the faster it melts. So what we want to find out is how much of the sediment is soot from wildfires. Is that more than last year or more than in the past? Is it a serious addition to the melt rate of the ice sheet?
The Extreme E drivers have joined the Science Committee on the ice cap to gather crucial samples. These will be used to gain a better understanding of what impact the dramatic change in climate has had on the region.
But there's something special about the Kalaallit fjord, and it's the one that carves deepest into the inside, the heart of the island. And that means that the Kalaallit fjord discharges a large fraction of all of the melting that occurs in the ice sheet, and that comes along with a lot of mud and sediment. So we are now collecting this mud and looking at the power of this mud to release the salts and the chemistry that can shift the equilibrium of seawater to bind carbon dioxide.
We're definitely here to race, and that's what we've all come into this sport for. And racing here is going to be something completely new for me anyway, but I think the science element, it really feels like the complete picture. The fact that Carlos said that he wouldn't be able to do this research without Extreme E is really amazing. I feel really happy to be a part of it.
This vital research will allow Extreme E scientists to understand if minerals deposited by increased ice melt can be used to reduce the amount of carbon being released into the atmosphere. With the support of the St. Helena, Extreme E's floating laboratory, this research can provide crucial data to combat climate change.
This is the lineup for semi-final two. So over Abt Cupra, Jutta Kleinschmidt and Matthias Ekström. Then you've got Andretti United, Timmy Hansen and Katie Munnings. And for Rosberg X Racing, Johan Kristoffersen and Molly Taylor. Remember, the championship leaders. Wait for that light to go green and we'll be launching down to turn one. They've not experienced this part of the track at all before. Green light now, brilliant start in the middle of the grid for RXR. Fantastic reactions from Johan Kristoffersen. I think that right-hand side of the grid for Andretti United is tough stuff. It's a bit bumpier on the run away. Jutta Kleinschmidt, though, looks to have edged them on the run towards the first corner. Now Kristoffersen crests it up, comes alongside, side by side with the Cooper machine. Timmy Hansen right up underneath. Hansen looking up the inside line. Will Kristoffersen know he's there or not? Timmy Hansen makes a pass in turn one. Johan Kristoffersen now on the left-hand side of the car. He might have an advantage as they run down towards the hairpin. Expect them to use the hyperdrive any minute now unless they want to hold on for lap two. Kristoffersen goes now later in the lap. We thought he might pass his Hansen immediately. He's going to now have that inside line. Timmy Hansen, I think, is waiting, as we suggested, for later in the lap.
Wow, so it's RXR. They are leading the way. It is Kristoffersen, used his hyperdrive already. Then Hansen, then Kleinschmidt. A nice lead, but you can see the Andretti United team closing up. Really nice late braking there from Hansen, and he closes the gap up to the RXR team really nicely. So this is a section in semi-final one that we saw a pass being made. Can Hansen do anything about this? Because he's right behind Kristoffersen. We see the inside line. Oh,
Kristoffersen's taken a flag down.
Yeah, he's taken a flag down. That could well be a penalty. You're not allowed to knock those waypoint flags down. Visibility so poor for Andretti United. This could be a real game changer, and I bet you the teams are trying to radio to their drivers to say to them, and even Kleinschmidt, who's a little bit further back, there is still opportunity for you here, but that's not going to stop Hansen from trying to make a move.
At the minute, Hansen and Kristoffersen, they've battled so many times in the World Rallycross Championship. These two know each other, they know each other's moves, they know how capable the other driver is. But don't forget, Andretti United have still got that hyperdrive to use. Kleinschmidt now is 15 seconds back down the road, reaches down to the dash. I wonder if she was going to go for the hyperdrive then. 17 seconds down. 10-second penalty. So it's a 10-second penalty for RXR, and that means now they have to come in 10 seconds
side by
ahead.
side as they come down the hill. They are side by side, and this is the moment Hansen feels that he can take the lead, and he has. But the crossback, the switchback from RXR, he's taken the high road. You can see there's a big difference in the height of the dunes there. This is the riverbed, but Hansen looking like he's got a great line, the inside line into this high jump.
Fantastic stuff from Timmy Hansen, very opportunistic. Johan Kristoffersen jumps it out big time in the background, but don't forget Hansen has still got that hyperdrive. He'll use that, I'm sure, to gap Johan on that long section back towards the rock garden. So it's about this gap now, back to Abt Cupra, 27 seconds back for Jutta Kleinschmidt. She's going to hand over, though, to Matthias Ekström, and Ekström, as we know, is very quick indeed. Kristoffersen to Taylor, and oh, there we go, late on the brakes. Kristoffersen passes Hansen on the brake zone to the switch.
So sneaky, isn't it? What an old trick, but he is wily, and he just used that momentum, took himself a little bit further under braking, and goes into the switch zone leading.
And we come now, so that, I say, crucially, this is all for me, this is all about the championship leaders. It's all about RXR. They've got this 10-second penalty. Ekström jumping into Abt Cupra, Molly Taylor jumping into RXR, Katie Munnings getting in for Andretti United. We know Molly is absolutely on the pace, and Katie will try to go with her. As I say, it's how far back. Ekström's actually 37 seconds back down the road. Nobody's used their hyperdrive yet, so they'll be saving that to the back side of the course. I wonder if Ekström's going to be able to close that gap or not. Ekström's losing time. He's lost 3 seconds in that last sector, and that is not like Matthias Ekström. So I wonder if he's got an issue. I would expect him to close through the narrow sections, but at the minute he's not. He's losing time. He's lost another second and a half. I think Abt Cupra have got an issue because Matthias Ekström's pace yesterday would have been definitely equal to, if not a little bit quicker, and we would expect him to close that gap. Munnings is actually closed down by half a second, but again, right now they can afford to take it a little bit more easily because of that gap back to P3. As I say that, they're not taking it easy at all.
I love this. It's fascinating to watch how the different drivers have different styles, how they enter, how they exit. You come down this, but it's a big drop, and I tell you what, Munnings is closing all the time with the Russell Glacier in the background. So they could go here to try and make the pass using hyperdrive, but with a 10-second penalty, my money would be on don't. The extra risk isn't necessary, just follow them home. As long as you're within 10, you get the win. I reckon Munnings will follow Taylor home. You have to use your hyperdrive,
whatever
happens.
She passes her. Brilliant.
Of course.
Well done. Proper commentator's curse.
Yeah.
Go on then, Katie.
And that's without the hyperdrive. She's still got that up her sleeve to use as well. Remember, Taylor yesterday had that roll. She was absolutely fine, carried on with the car. That section of the track has been taken away for today to make the racing a little bit better. And my word, it has not failed, has it? As Munnings launches that car into the sky, and now she uses her hyperdrive. You can see the difference it makes for 4 seconds, that extra power boost.
This is wonderful by Katie. I'm completely wrong. I'm perfectly happy to take that on the chin.
They're coming towards the end. It's going to be a very close thing. It's going to be the Andretti United team and Katie Munnings, Timmy Hansen pairing that take the win. They've done a fantastic job. Rosberg X Racing also go through. They were 11 seconds behind in the end. They had that penalty. That's why it's 11 seconds. They did a great job too. Disappointment for the Abt Cupra team. They get knocked out for this round. But my word, what a drive that was from Katie Munnings and Timmy Hansen.
Here's the result of semi-final 2. Unfortunately, with a broken drive shaft, Abt Cupra, Jutta Kleinschmidt and Matthias Ekström will go no further this weekend. Championship leaders Johan Kristoffersen and Molly Taylor do go through. It says 11 seconds down. Taylor was actually right behind Munnings, but a 10-second penalty for Kristoffersen downing that flag up by the lake. Andretti United and RXR through to the final.
Congratulations, race winners. That was fantastic.
Yeah, it was a great race, like one of the most enjoyable races I've had in a long time with Johan. He's great to race with, and we had a nice battle all the way through. Then Molly and Katie picked it right up from where we left off, and also had a great battle. So, I mean, we're in the final now. We've had a great weekend so far, and you know, in the final anything can happen. So we'll be at our best.
So we are ready to go racing again. It is the crazy race. In the middle, It is Sarah Price and Carl Leduc. To the left of them, it is the X Energy team, and to the right, it's JBXC. Now, worth pointing out, that team have a 30-second penalty, Andrew.
Yeah, they do. So they've used an excess tyre. There's a limit to the number of tyres you're allowed per weekend. They decided they needed another one. That means they're going to have to stop at the switch zone for an extra 30 seconds. Still all to play for, because we've seen there's been a fair bit of carnage this weekend. You need to make sure you get to the end, and there could still be a place, but only one will go through from the crazy race to the final. One place up for grabs. That's why it's called the crazy race. Who is it going to be?
The action, the points on offer. It's all to play for. And they are off. You can see on the right-hand side, slightly difficult to get away. The X Energy team doing a good job though, but I think it's the JBXC team who are stretching out in front. They've taken the early lead. Can Segi TV, Chip Ganassi team fight back? They're going to try to as they go down to the slingshot. All the way to turn 6 is what they'll try and do. You can see them ducking and diving. Christine GZ at the back there. She's trying to find a way through, but at the moment, it's Arlen Kotolinsky who goes out in front from Price and GZ. They're stretching out their lead. This is good stuff. No one using the hyperdrive, but just look, all 3 cars in a line. There's nothing between them at the moment.
I think they wait now on the hyperdrive, Jenny. They're not close enough, are they, to make the difference with that extra booster power, as I say that. Oh, okay, so there's confirmation of the penalty for JBXC. They will have a 30-second penalty at the switch zone, remember. So they're in the lead, that's where they need to be. But that lead needs to be more than 30 seconds. It's going to be hard work for them to get that done. Sarah Price reaching up to her helmet there. Wasn't moving around too much on the bump. Sometimes you actually see the helmets moving up and down, so it gives you a good idea of the brutality of the course. GZ having a look up the inside line here. If there's contact, it could be trouble. Has she got the pass done? She has. Christine GZ makes a pass up at the waypoint at the far end of the course. Sarah Price drops down to P3.
Wow, this is a big move from Christine GZ. That Excite Energy team really coming back and making ground. They're doing a terrific job. And that Segi TV car, they need to find something, don't they, to come back. At the moment, remember, they have got the penalty for JBXC that's going to be served. They've just got to keep within sight of them and see what happens after this switch.
Remember, only one car goes through as well, you know, so yeah, you can count JBXC out if there is carnage for everybody else, but at this point in the race, it's far too early. Oh, broken steering! No way! Unbelievable! Segi TV, Chip Ganassi Racing just cannot get a break. Unbelievable.
That is heartbreak for them, and you could see the excitement that gave Ollie Bennett. I mean, you don't want to be good when you're cheering over something else before it, but he knows exactly. He knows it means with JBXC's penalty that there is a route through to the final.
Ollie Bennett jumping in. Don't forget, JBXC were P3 in the standings when they came here to this event. Bennett gets released now. Kevin Hansen will have to wait another 30. Kevin's going to close this gap again here. Ollie was pretty cautious round by the side of the lake, and as he comes up through this section, I'm pretty confident he's down by another 2 seconds. You could just see the attitude of the car. Ollie was waiting for the grip. Kevin was getting the car by the scruff of the neck and chucking it in. He came sideways out the corner. He was earlier on the gas. 13 seconds of gap. Bennett's got to hold on for this half lap. Bennett on the nose! Bennett on the nose, big time. Came off far too hard on that. Lights have gone out on the front of the car. It's still running, but he dropped that down way too hard on the nose.
Oh, he's doing a big hit there. That is not great for Bennett. Under pressure, a little mistake there. The gap comes down to 6 seconds. Closing all the time. He's trying to find a way through. He's trying to make this track as short as he possibly can as he tries to hunt down Ollie Bennett. The pressure is on, and he goes though. He goes. Wide and managed to do it. Bennett looks like he's slowed down, and it looks like Hansen's managed to make the pass through. Oh, there's a car problem. This is not what they needed. It's exactly what JBXC needed, but disaster for Excite.
Well, oh no, heartbreak for Bennett.
This is the team, JBXC, despite a 30-second penalty, gets through. Hansen delighted, Kotolinsky delighted, Jensen Button is overjoyed. The 2009 world champion has a team. He's selected Hansen and Arlen Kotolinsky, and they are through into the final, claiming the very last place, a 5-car final. Joy for some, disaster for others, and heartbreak.
So these are the teams who have made it through to the final. As you can see, it's X44, Acciona, Science, Andretti United, RXR and JBXC, a 5-team final for the first time. And don't go anywhere, because after the break, we'll crown our very first Arctic X Prix champion. Welcome back to Extreme E in Kangerlussuaq, located in the south of Greenland. 9 teams have been battling it out for victory, and now it's time for the Arctic X Prix final.
So ready for this, and you can see that's how they're lining up. A bird's eye view in the cars with our 5 drivers. Those are the guys who are going to be taking the start line, and the other drivers a very awkward and uncomfortable watch from the command centre where all the action is relayed to them, and they won't miss a moment of the racing until it's time for them to jump in the car.
So 2 laps,
seconds,
1 lap for the male driver, 1 lap for the female driver. For Rosberg X Racing, it's Molly Taylor. X44, Sebastian Loeb. Acciona Sainz, it's Laya Sands. JBXE, Kevin Hansen. Andretti United, Katie Munnings at the wheel for the first stint. There she is. They're all looking for the green light. 5 cars then on the run down to the first corner. What's going to happen here? Far left-hand side of the grid, Andretti United is very bumpy there. Contact already between JBXE, just getting into the rear corner. It looked like of Acciona Sainz. Acciona Sainz dropping back. X44 and RXR side by side. The car's bucking up and down. It's so bumpy on the run down here. Sainz is at the absolute back of the squad. The Acciona Sainz car into turn 1 up the inside line. It's Katie Munnings on the far right-hand side. Munnings uses her hyperdrive now, takes the lead. Katie Munnings has taken the lead here. Molly Taylor for RXR coming in, trying to make a pass on the run down towards the first corner. Big braking zone down here now. Up through the middle, Sebastian Loeb for X44. 3 cars wide on the braking zone. Loeb's going to leave it as late as he can, so will Munnings, but it's inside line for Molly Taylor. Surely Taylor can get this from here. JBXE are right there. Acciona Sainz a long way off the back. Now on the brakes. Watch for the wide line and the cutback. Coming around the flag, Loeb runs a little bit deep. Molly Taylor looking 4 cars now into the narrow section. It's going to be Sebastian Loeb who finally gets the whole shot. The exit waypoint 6, contact between JBXE there. Can't quite make the pass, and it's Andretti United who hold on to 3rd. So JBXE may look for a look up the inside here. It's Kevin Hansen will try and pass Katie Munnings where Sebastian Loeb did earlier on today. Not close enough though to make that work. He tried, didn't he, up the hill, but he got squeezed out. Now he's stuck in behind. Really, these cars need to do the best they can to catch up with Sebastian Loeb. Make sure they're in a train there behind. Laya Sands only 4.7 back, and as you said, Jenny, can she make up some of that time using hyperdrive? This next section, Jenny, is where we saw a pass earlier on today. Christina Giampazonka had a look up the inside and actually managed to make a pass stick into the hairpin. The first one we'd seen on the brakes, but he's too far back, so that's good for Katie.
Yeah, really is. So at the moment, you can see it's the X44 car. They've taken the turn round at number 16, turn 16, right in front of the Russell Glacier. You can see that at the back of your screen. Just swishes to the left of ours. Next up, it's the Rosberg car as they travel, and they've grown a little bit of a gap, as you can see, just over 2 seconds to the Andretti United team. And then it's JBXE and the Acciona Sainz team still have their hyperdrive to use, so all is not lost for sure. There's still a long way to go in this.
Airing it out big time there, Katie Munnings over the crest. The gap out front, look, is 10.8 seconds for Sebastian Loeb. Now it's 12.3. So Loeb is really gapping them. He's going to come in and hand over to Cristina Gutierrez. He wants to give her as much breathing space as possible because she's going to be chased by Johan Kristoffersen and Timmy Hansen for RXR and Andretti United. And they're going to chase her really hard. We've seen people hold on, Jenny, for the whole lap, but you've got to get that gap as big as you can. Loeb trying to check out front. Here he is.
Yep, Loeb absolutely showing the class of a man who has won so many World Rally Championships. 9 championship titles to him, but look at the cars bouncing around.
Munnings with an absolutely huge jump in the background. I almost misjudged it. It was really high, nearly landed on nose. Got away with it this time, but pushing really, really hard to try and get past Taylor. Managed to pass Taylor in the previous run in the semi-final. Munnings trying to get alongside again. Rear of the car kicks up high. You can see her view across the right-hand side. Molly Taylor going to go late on the brakes and try and defend from them. Katie Munnings is on fire today.
She is absolutely pushing this. She knows what she wants. She wants the scalp of Molly Taylor in front of her. Taylor, such a pro when it comes to rally driving, and Munnings really trying to bring it to her. What can she do? She's really trying, but I don't think she's... Look, she's actually closing in on her, isn't she? Amazing.
15 seconds now, the gap between Loeb for X44 and Taylor for RXR. Taylor, of course, is now in that battle with Munnings. That means you're watching your mirrors a little bit. Loeb, look, he's sideways through the left-hander. He's going to come in with a massive gap, as you see. Laya Sands finally uses a hyperdrive out the back, but 11.4 seconds down. That's going to be a big gap for Carlos to try and make up on lap 2.
Yeah, that wide shot really gave you an idea of just how impressive the battle is. Loeb out in front, but look, Taylor, Munnings, they're really battling here. And I tell you what, Munnings is really keeping Taylor honest. This is a really difficult section through the rock garden, challenging boulders that we've seen wrecking some of the cars if you take the wrong line. It's about precision and making it work perfectly.
Yeah, that was bang on, really precise from Loeb, but committed as well. And now Kevin Hansen is back onto the back of Taylor and Money, so Kevin has really closed the gap down. Is anyone going to go for an alternate line? I think not on this lap. I think they'll take it steady. Molly Taylor crosses the rock field successfully, followed by Money's Kevin Hansen in the background taking more risk. Money's got slightly sideways. He should drop back down onto the dirt, and they're going to head into the switch zone now.
Okay, so Sebastian Loeb gets out of the car. He's handing over to Cristina Gutierrez, 30-year-old Spanish driver. Just having a little listen to them.
We heard someone say puncture. We heard someone say puncture in the background. Have they got a problem on the X44 machine? They have the rear rights down. The leader's got a rear right puncture.
So they can fix it. They have a tyre there. You can see at the back the engineer mechanic just getting the car up on the jacks. They'll have a chance to get back in this, but this is maybe blowing away a lead. They had the lead by such a long place. Rear right puncture. They've got to replace it.
3 cars leaving now from the switch zone, super close together. Unbelievable. JBXE hunting down the background. You can see it's going to be Timmy Hansen leading out for Andretti United. Johan Kristoffersen, the last 2 World Rallycross champions, going head-to-head. And behind them, Michaela Arlen-Kotlinski going to try and hang on for JBXE.
My word, this is going to be close. It's almost like a full restart, isn't it? They're so level at the moment, and you can see the Andretti United team. They've got away well. These two going side by side. I think there's a little bit of contact between the two of them as well. There's so much to make up for Gutierrez and Sainz at the back end of this, but Arlen-Kotlinski chasing down the Rosberg team and Cristina Gutierrez out the front.
Really impressed with Arlen-Kotlinski. She's going with 2 of the best rallycross drivers in the world here. These guys are so good. They've done battles so many times. They're battling this year for the World Rallycross Championship as well.
Yeah, and just look at the pressure that's coming now in the form of Johan Kristoffersen all over the back of the Andretti United team of Timmy Hansen. And these are people that know each other so well, the driver dynamics. They've raced together for years, and Johan Kristoffersen, he's trying to find a way through, but down that section, you're crazy, aren't you, if you try?
Yeah, there's no room there. The lake was the only place they could have passed here. Michaela Arlen-Kotlinski is just going to try and hold on to these two, get a podium for JBXE. If she can do anything, don't forget as well, with them trying this hard, there's a chance of contact, there's a chance one of them tries too hard. You've got to be there to pick up the pieces. Acciona Sainz, Carlos Sainz has closed the gap down by 3 seconds. He's getting away slightly from Cristina Gutierrez. They did that wheel change. Watch now for Kristoffersen. Gonna look for a pass. He's going to go out wide. So Kristoffersen knows Hansen's going to go defensive on the brakes now. Watch for Hansen. He'll brake early and take the inside line. Kristoffersen's going to try and get the cut back on the exit. Here we go. Kristoffersen coming in wide and then tight. Hansen might try and stall him up at the apex. Kristoffersen now full throttle on the exit. Can he get past Timmy or not? I think he might have just edged it. Going to try and shut the door into the left hand, and now they're still almost side by side. It's so hard to tell from here. Oh, over the crest, they are still side by side.
So one of them takes the higher line, one of them the lower line, and you can see Timmy Hansen took that lower line, but the air they got there, incredible. This is a real duke it out fight, and they are no holds barred. Oh, the damage! Damage for the Rosberg car. That impact was just too much, took too much of a risk, and I can tell you what, JBXE see an opportunity here. Michaela Arlen-Kotlinski, could she win this?
She's going to try and hold on. Certainly, we've got hyperdrive down the back. There's no reason she couldn't make a pass down there. But Kristoffersen, that's equal to the Saracen jump we saw earlier on. It was absolutely huge, but it was just a little bit too much. Hansen, the rear end kicks up high. He is out. Where's Michaela Arlen-Kotlinski behind? JBXE within 3.8. The rear end of that car is up so high. They're having to take risks here now, Jenny.
Just
look how cut up the track is.
Just goes to show how much they all want this. Winning the Arctic X Prix means so much to them. The environmental cause means so much to them. This is a race with a passion. So you can see Arlen-Kotlinski around 4 seconds behind the lead car at the moment, trying to hunt them down. And then you have got the 2 other cars of Sainz and X44, and at the back is Kristoffersen in the RXR-stricken car. But we're coming down around to some of the final moments of this X Prix. And if you look, it is Munnings and Hansen, the pairing. And they are coming towards the rock garden. Over they go, JBXE as well. But this is the moment. This is the battle for the Arctic X Prix. This is a battle and a challenge for the championship. Munnings has done a great job to set up what is a fantastic win for Timmy Hansen. He looks to come across the line. They have smashed it out of the park. Congratulations to them. Andretti United win. A fist pump for Timmy Hansen. They collect 25 points. They are delighted united. Well done.
Absolutely brilliant. Munnings has raised her game this weekend and taken it to the championship leaders. You saw the battle on lap 2. Look at this! Airing it out sideways over the back there. Gutierrez trying to find it. They're still side by side now. This is on for P4 and P3 and P4. Well, who got it? Acciona Sainz got it. Oh, it was 0.04 of a second between Acciona Sainz and X44. Gutierrez nearly got it with a jump at the end. Incredible racing.
So the final race results are in. It was RXR coming in last place, a minute in the end behind. Loeb and Gutierrez, 27 seconds behind, of course, with that 5-second penalty. The Science and Sounds team, 22.86 seconds behind our winners. And then Arlen Kotelinski and Hansen getting the second place. That's how the podium will look, with Munnings and Hansen for Andretti United atop of that podium.
Katie Munnings and Timmy Hansen are Arctic X Prix winners. Yeah! Congratulations! First win of the season.
Incredible. What a drive Katie did to get us out in the lead from the pit stop. Then a crazy battle with Johan. We both went way above the limit, but we came home as the winner.
I cannot believe it. I can't believe we're saying that after the start to the weekend. It's just literally well done to the team. Thank you, team. We've all worked so hard on this.
Here's what it's done for the championship top 10. You can see RXR still in the lead, 93 points for Taylor and Christopherson. X44 in second place, Gutierrez and Loeb. So the 9 points is the gap, and then you come down into third place, 71 points. They have climbed up to third place. They were all fourth coming into this for the Andretti United team. And a big jump for JBXE as well. They've done really well. Michaela Arlen Kotelinski, slightly more points because she's been racing since the very beginning, 68. And then the Acciona Sainz team on 54. Matthias Ekstrom, he's also taken all of the starts so far for the App Cooper team on 54 points as well. And you can see 7 down to 11 at the moment. And 12, a really bad weekend for the Segi Chipganassi racing team. Not scoring points, and a really disappointment for them. But happiness for everybody else at the podium.
Wonderful podium here. Andretti United on the top step for the first time. Timmy Hansen and Katie Munnings. P2 to Kevin Hansen and Michaela Arlen Kotelinski for JBXE. And then you've got Carlos Sainz and Leia Sanz for Sainz Acciona.
What a weekend it's been. The very first motorsport action in Greenland and an amazing Arctic X Prix with the Andretti United team coming up the championship and winning. Wow. Come back and join us next time when we go to Sardinia. Thank you so much for watching.
Slow your breathing. Focus your mind. The Arctic awaits.